All right, we got Chapman Panthers here, Coach Scott Laverty, Mack, Cheli, Jonathan Hernandez, Henry Zeisler. Go ahead, Coach. What was the opening statement?
Awesome. We're obviously just excited to be here, excited to get that first win under our belt. We knew everybody coming here is going to be good, and what a great Washington Jefferson team. I know they're going to continue to battle, but it was nice to get that first win. First time we've been on the road in a month too, so getting the opportunity to play conference tournament, regional, super regional at our place, so getting our feet wet back on the road. So just really proud of our guys. Exact kind of thing that they've done all year long, just battle and compete.
All right, go ahead with questions.
For Coach and for any of the guys, you go through your conference schedule, which is, pretty, if nothing else, predictable, right? The same sort of regular weekend series, and you got you've got one of those regionals that's got the 5-game series, and then you got the 3-game series, and so this is a totally different atmosphere. What is it? How does that change what you guys are doing here?
It doesn't change anything. It's just getting used to it again. Because we do some of that, especially March, spring break time when we get teams coming in from East Coast, all those great teams that come in and play us, so we have to play multiple games in a week. So it's something that we do, but you're right. We do have the luxury of, as we get into the final runs of our conference, where we get to play on the weekends, and that sets a pretty predictable path. And so getting our feet wet back in this environment was good. It's something that we've done before, and now getting back into that groove is good.
Yeah, and it's not just in this environment. It's also being in the World Series for the first time under you, and in the first time in 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, since 2011. Yeah, first time for me. Definitely exciting, and so that was really good. Getting that done, getting our feet underneath us, and moving forward into tomorrow.
Coach, talk about how important it is when you sit there, they get a couple men on base and don't score them, and you finally get men on base and you get to score them. How important is that to start a game like this?
Huge, especially in these situations. We talk a lot about momentum, controlling the momentum of the game, and we were able to do that pretty solidly. They got those couple of guys on, but us getting out of that jam is a momentum thing that kind of gets things back going our way. We got a couple of guys on, and then the opportunity to push some runs across in back-to-back innings, and controlling that momentum, that's huge in how we do things. And then they were able to come back and grab some, get that big 3-run inning. But again, we took advantage of a miscue and scored right after they did, and that's huge to get that momentum back on our side. To keep them chasing the ball, per se.
Jonathan, a little bit of a shaky start. What do you think happened after the first couple innings to settle down?
I think you're just getting used to it. Like Skip said, we're first time on the road since some months, so pitching on a different mound that's not your home mound that you're pitching on every day. First World Series appearance for any player as well, so being on the big stage, you're going to have some nerves, and just settling in and finding your groove and just being able to do that as quickly as possible was my main goal. So,
hey, Mack, you're able to come through in some key times to deliver RBI hits. What's the approach going into that situation, and what worked for you today?
Just looking for pitches up, something I could do some damage with. And pretty much the story of our whole season was if we get a couple runs, Johnny and the rest of the guys will take care of business and keep doing a great job.
So, Coach, you get the key start from Jonathan here. You get to use your pitching staff the way it looks like you want to use your pitching staff, right? So how does that set you up for going forward the rest of this tournament?
Really good. I mean, we'll have Tyler Peckin going in Game 2. Who's been solid, great for us all year long. And the guys have been predictable, which helps us, like you said, getting to use it the way that we want to. And that's attributed to getting some of those early runs, too. That allows us to put ourselves in that position and then put those guys that have had the most success, Turner, Garcia, Glenn, in the back end of our rotation, put them in the spots that they're comfortable in and spots that they succeed in.
Henry, you were involved in 3 of the run-scoring innings, moving runners over, setting up the plate. Just talk about your approach at the plate and what you were looking for.
I mean, my swing's been feeling good lately, so I'm just looking for strikes, looking for pitches to hit, pitches to drive, and being in the middle of the order is nice because you know you got guys in front of you who are going to do their job and guys behind you that are going to do their job. So just trying to be part of the offense, and like Mack said, we know that we put a couple runs on the board, our staff's going to take care of business.
Coach, if you could start off and maybe the players weigh in, read about how you've kind of maybe honored some individuals, Miguel Sabedo, who went down a couple weeks before the postseason, and then Carter Anthony. Could you talk a little bit about kind of playing for something a little bit more than just the team or a game?
You're going to tickle some strings here, so I got to make sure I stay composed. First, Carter Anthony, is his name. We partnered with a program called Team Impact about 3 years ago, and Carter was battling leukemia, and he was a 90% cure rate kid. That's where he was. We went to chemo with him. Chalk Hospital, Children's Hospital, Orange County is less than a mile from our field. So we were at, chemo sessions with him, playing video games with him, dinner at the family. My daughter is 6, and we were just always hanging out and doing things. He was such an inspiration. He is such an inspiration to us. And what he did in the year and a half that he was with our program. He was at practices. He's at practice pretty much every Thursday night. He might have done chemo for a half a day and then come to practice and be around and vibrant. And if his head wasn't bald, fast he would call it, then you wouldn't even know that he was battling cancer. He was true, and I think it's absolutely the best thing that I've ever done for one of my teams. The heart wrench and the anguish that we feel when we lost him. Still just showed the guys that, hey, we get to play a game. If I struck out and there's Carter still ready to give me a high five, hey, this is fun. We can work hard and let the chips fall where they may. And then Miguel Sabedo, we had an incident in practice, nobody's fault, just an accident, and he took a thrown ball into the face and broke a bunch of his eye bones, and he was our starting first baseman as a freshman all the way up until that point. And just such a great human being. He was a walk-on for us, a walk-on playing first base for a team that made it to the World Series. It just shows the type of kid that he is. And so he got to be here. He's here this weekend. He had surgery a week and a half ago, and he's on the mend, and we're excited to get him back next season.
For the players, with what Coach mentioned, when you face adversity in a game, how does it help to know that, there are bigger fights out there, and kind of the exposure and knowing Carter's story that, maybe losing a 3-run lead isn't that big of a deal. You just keep fighting.
Yeah, I think as Lav kind of hit it, he was an inspiration. He was there every Tuesday, Thursday night practice, and you see a 6-year-old who just was battling leukemia and going through chemotherapy, and then that night he's running around, smile on his face. It just shows you how strong he was, and so he's looking up to us as 18 to 22-year-old guys playing the game that he just wanted to play. And so it just reminds you of why you play the game, and kind of takes you back to when you were, little, and just it was all fun and games, and you weren't stressing about, I'm 0 for 10, or I've given up 6 runs last game and now I have to start again. It's the little things that the reason why we play the game.
And just touching on what happened to Miguel, I think it was a big eye-opener and realization for a lot of guys that anything can happen, and it's inspired me to you got to treat every game like it could be your last, because you don't know. And with that attitude, just going out there and giving it your all. That way, if something unfortunate were to happen, you can at least go down saying you gave it your all with no regrets.
Just like what both of them have touched on, It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. It's a privilege that we get to be out there with people we love and trust. And when something like that happens to your team, it hurts. But I think we've done a good job to overcome it, and it made us stronger as a team.
All right, thanks, coach and players.
Thank you.